100% race. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Good update.
Also, welcome Insomniac Toaster. Awesome name, by the way. So, no B-side on Prologue, huh? Not yet. It has not yet been discovered, right?
Still working on
called Dash Prologue, where it's just Prologue, but you have your dash, and it can be beaten in about 12 seconds.
I would still fall off. I'm so used to Prologue in Bingo, I wasn't ready to skip that cutscene at all.
I have the same thing happen.
Okay, here's where the run begins. Again, you're going to see each runner going to the cassette as fast as possible and unlocking the B-side, and then you're going to see some real fireworks.
So, quick question. Are we just going straight into all the B-sides, or are we waiting?
Good question. Just go straight in. As soon as you grab the cassette, just go straight into the B-side. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, I've just pressed it. Sorry.
What? Oh.
I accidentally entered C.
Oh, no problem, guys. Just go ahead. Start when ready, then.
Okay.
Chris just so excited. So excited to get into this.
I agree, 1B music, very underrated. Exactly like any percent of the first 2 checkpoints, you're just going to get through start and crossing as fast as possible. But when the runners get into Chasm, you're going to take that left detour past a traffic block, grab a tape quickly.
I didn't consider practicing the A sides for this category.
Okay, so far it's just your standard A side, and then you can see on Chris's screen where things change up a little bit. Spoilers for anyone casually playing this game who doesn't know where the cassettes are. Chris, the first one to grab his cassette. Jack, right behind. Actually, since Chris started first, they probably are pretty lined up at this point.
On into 1B, this is a super fun chapter with just a lot of technical movement. Really, in general, the B-sides more linear, but just more technical, more pushing those skills that the game teaches you in the A-sides to the limit.
Yeah, B-sides are really, really challenging. Again, especially for new players, they're a real step up in terms of difficulty, and you can imagine the same thing applies for the speed run. Now, I'd imagine probably Meta, you could lend some insight, but I'm sure there's some speed strats in the B-sides that make the screens much faster. I just saw Jack skip that entire like mechanism room.
Yeah, he had a little corner boost, not corner boost, but a little corner hop right on the first screen of Contraption, which is one of the harder screens casually.
Yeah,
I can definitely get stuck there for a while. I know I did. That was one of the 2 screens that prevented me from getting the golden on this chapter for a long time. I'm seeing Jake now do a little skip in this room with a lot of, it's basically stamina management, and you can bypass that entire upper section where you have to go get a dash crystal.
Wow.
You just, do a quick jump and grab the corner of that first falling block. You don't even need to go up there. Seeing Chris now entering Scrap Pit, the final checkpoint. In general, if you very carefully look at these screens, there's a lot of traffic blocks that can be bypassed entirely and figure out how to route around them.
Wow, really fast stuff, and a lot of these like really small gaps you have to squeeze down in between spikes. It's very unforgiving, and it demands precision. These single block crumble blocks as well.
The screen with the vertical climbing over traffic blocks is another of the hardest ones, again, to get through casually. Chris does not go for a particularly difficult skip where you have to super off of that first traffic block, and I see Jake bypasses it too. So there are a lot of sort of expert level strats that, I mean, you can beat a B-side very fast without them, but if you want to get into world record range, you're going to be doing some very technical movement.
Yeah. There's a very healthy balance I take between speed strats I can get reliably and ones that I can't get reliably when I take baby. So it's risky. There's a lot of risk involved in the strats you choose for B-sides.
Very similar times from both players there. Chris, about 8 seconds faster than Jack. Yep, so a 3:44 for Jack.
Oh, sorry, I'm missing all of the prompts.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Let's just get ready to the postcard screens, and we'll get ready to get into Old Site.
Chris, remember, this is not real time.
Bingo mode.
Okay, here we go. Dropping into Old Site in 3, 2, 1, go.
Old Site has the quickest tape grab by far out of any A side, so you're really barely going to see any of this level before we get to what is shortest B side.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. What's the shortest B side and what's the longest B side?
The shortest one I think is Old Side. I think world record is 1:30-ish for the B side. Yeah, very, very quick. And then the longest is going to be naturally 7B. Amazingly, the world record for 7B is like 6:28 or even lower than that, which is nuts. These runners are more in the, I think, 9-minute range once we get to 7B.
And already both runners at the tape grab at almost the exact same time. A little bit of there's like a slight like menu. You have to like speed menu out of here, right? It's like exit to map as quick as you can.
Basically mashing pause to get into that pause menu to return to map as quickly as possible once you start moving away from the tape. B has a ton of fun movement. I don't know how much I'll be able to actually narrate because a little bit of stream lag and because all these screens just go so fast.
So fast, yeah.
Again, just watch how much stuff these runners do not interact with. Blocks that are passed up or activated or something. Yeah, there's just a lot of... And it's pretty easy to get good at 2B. None of this stuff is really tricky except for a couple of strats that we may or may not see later in the chapter.
Yeah, I remember casually this screen that both runners are on now, really tricky because you have like these keys you have to hit. Meanwhile, you have battling, mirroring you, and chasing you, and it's narrow corridors and spikes everywhere.
Yeah, so some of these battle line screens are a bit reminiscent of Resort in that they're really a cycle. You just have to know the timing of how to get through them quickly, and then it's not an issue. But if you mess up that timing, and then all of a sudden battle line's in your way in a place that you didn't expect, very flustered.
Or if you get stuck somewhere without a dash, as Chris just showed us, it's not always savable. And again, no way to reroute. Once you've kind of entered the dream block, you can't course correct. You're committed to whatever line you are on. So if you make a mistake, you may end up inside a wall.
Chris on my screen is in a room with 3 coins. There is a coin skip strat where you can corner boost over that moving block at the end.
Oh.
Chris choosing to collect the coins instead. It's almost pixel perfect. It's not quite pixel perfect, but it's difficult. So it's not surprising. And it's not that much faster than the skip. I still try to go for the skip because why not? I'll always make it. Now coming up into the final room of Dream Altar, which has a trick called Based Altar Skip. I can't, my stream is lagging too much to see whether it's happening or not, but basically in this final room, you want to do a diagonal dash and then demo back to the left, and by doing that, you can climb up into the corner with your crouched hitbox still intact.
Wow.
And then if you do a diagonal upright dash, you will be able to bypass a big chunk of that room that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. Not do that. as I was dictating it. And the heart room in this chapter, notoriously difficult. I know there are people watching who have struggled for quite some time getting through this. The quickest way to do it is to do that triple wall bounce. I think Jake just pulled it off. And get each dash crystal you can get to the top in one cycle of the blue blocks and pass it, but otherwise you can stay on that room and struggle for a long time.
Yeah, really, I remember that one casually, and pretty recently I've watched a few people play that last screen for the first time, and it is a real deceptively challenging screen. Let's take a look at the journals, and what do we got, Meta?
Well, I'm seeing Jake with a 7:37 total time. Fresh screen for Chris over here. Chris is at 7:20, so about a 17-second lead.
17 seconds, wow.
Good pace from both players so far.
Okay, let's head into Resort, and as Meta said earlier, the tape is a ways into Resort, so we're going to see a big chunk of 3A here.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's more than 7A, but it certainly feels like it is. It's a bigger percentage of the level. You have to play all the way into the third checkpoint. And what we'll see is when you get to the demo dash room, the tape is actually below that, so you don't get to do demo dash in a Benny % run. You'll drop down as if you were playing the old style any %, head over and grab the tape. By that point, you're 4 minutes into the chapter at least. So this is probably the most of an A side we're going to get to see.
Okay, well let's get it started then, and this is a Resort in 3, 2, 1, go. So Benny % is just one example of a number of different categories that you can run if you're interested in speedrunning Celeste. I think any %'s probably the most popular and the most played. What other categories are there, Meta?
There are quite a few fun categories. I do love Benny %. If you don't want to actually bother grabbing the tapes, you can just enter the cheat code at the beginning that unlocks everything and just play all B-sides.
Okay.
B, which this run will not. We're not going into core in a Benny % run. But you would play 1 through 8 just the B-sides. You can do the same thing with all C-sides. A very popular one is True Ending. Is any %, but you grab 4 hearts along the way so that you can then get into core, and then after core you play through the end of Farewell. So it's basically storyline aspect of the game, no B or C sides, but just all of the essentially A sides and Farewell. Mm-hmm. And then all red berries. There's of course 175 strawberries hidden throughout the chapters that can be collected, and all red berries says let's get all of them.
Yeah,
that includes 8A as well.
That category is really impressive to watch, just for me, just for like the routing alone. And I think I've seen M Sushi is a runner. I've seen him stream in that category, and really cool to see just how optimized the routing is and the movement. And it's almost like a lot of these categories, it's like any % to get good at that and fast is a lot of work, a lot of effort, and then to take that and say, this is not enough. I want to learn how to route and run fast. The location of every red berry is just such an achievement. It's so impressive.
It is maybe the most fun category to watch, and one thing I love about ARB, even if you're just playing casually, is that you get to experience the entirety of each level. Like when you do 5A in a speedrun, you're missing so much of 5A because there's dozens of berries hid in nooks and crannies in every direction in some of those big hub rooms, and you're just bypassing them all. In ARB, really savor all of the technical detail that the developers put into these complex levels by getting all of the hidden stuff.
Yeah, that's a really good point, is there's so much of this game that is not not essential. You may miss it on your first playthrough, and the all berries, yeah, it does allow you to showcase really all these rooms that were designed to be played. Okay, so both players again, they have to clean up the resort entirely, so they're going to be hitting those 3 bubbles and making their way to the top. You can see Chris now has completed that challenge already. Grabs the key. He's going to head up to the cassette. And Jack not too far behind. Okay, here we go. I think this is where we're going to see the paths diverge from the any percent races that we've seen so far today. Yep, there we go. Chris heading down.
This room, which people may have forgotten about if they've incorporated Demo Dash into their any percent runs, the fastest way to get across it is known as the quad hyper strat, where you can actually just perfectly time either a hyper or a wave dash to get underneath those dust bunnies and zoom right across the screen. Chris having some trouble with it, just like myself. I actually can't do the strat. I take a very slow pace. Oh, Jake almost gets it, but dashes into the last row of dust bunnies there at the end.
Yeah, just a testament to how difficult that strat is that both these very accomplished runners having some trouble with it there, but they're both through and have grabbed the cassettes and are into now the B side. What are we looking to expect here at the for the Resort B side?
And Resort B side, it can be very fast or it can be very difficult. World record is just under 2 minutes, which is absolutely insane. These guys, I think, are more along the 3:15-ish range. I think Jake just did a 3:15 in practice right before coming in. But everything is cycles. Everything is dust bunnies in uncomfortable places, and you just have to know ahead of time going into each room how to attack it. Because if you have to stop and wait and think about it, all of a sudden everything is in a different place. So that when you're really learning 3B, you're learning the whole sequence of the level, not just how to beat each room, being prepared for the next room and what you're going to do as soon as you get in to get past those seekers or the dust bunnies.
And I would imagine too that the making a mistake and ending up on a death cycle would make things a lot harder. Yeah,
there are definitely some rooms that are virtually impossible on death cycle, which is, I mean, it sounds silly because you're just at a different place in the cycle, but it just throws you off because things are not where you expect them to be when you come in, and you might not even know exactly in your mind's eye what the room looks like when you come in. You just know how to do it. So sometimes it's better to just leave the room and come back so that you get on that entry cycle instead of the death cycle.
Yep.
There are a ton of skips, of course, in here. Some rooms are just, there's only one way to beat them and you have to know it. But there's other rooms where there are kind of a couple of different ways to route it and still get through.
And we are going to see the return of Oshiro here, aren't we?
Indeed, and Oshiro, one thing that bingo players will know is that Oshiro in the B and C sides has a faster cycle, so every time Oshiro passes the screen and then re-enters on the left, it's only 1 second till he takes off every time. There's a differently timed cycle on the A sides where Oshiro takes 1 second, then 2, then 3, then 2, then 3. So you probably through the presidential suite that sometimes Oshiro waits a little bit longer, sometimes Oshiro goes a little bit faster. Not so on 3B and 3C. They are always consistently, Oshiro is just aggressively coming at you. He'll enter the screen and then 1 second later charge up and fly at you.
So it's almost more consistent on the B side.
That's right. There's more regularity to it, so you can plan your routing around that. This, I think, is the first one through, if my stream is not lying to me. Yep, Chris with a very nice 3:06 pace. Just here on the first screen of Rooftop, be a little bit behind that.
IckleChris really wants a coffee.
As promised in chat, I just enjoyed a coffee with Bailey, so I'm in a good place right now.
Ooh. That is a vibe. Can we get a vibe check in chat?
Any vibe in chat?
Any vibers? Both runners now through. Very, very nicely done there. Very smooth.
I've been a very difficult chapter there. So Chris looking at his journal, sitting at 14:53, extending his lead now to over a minute. SicklyJack behind at 16:01. Still a very good pace, still winnable.
Okay, Golden
Have
Ridge.
to make up some time and
Golden Ridge up next. And here we go. Looks like both runners now at the ready at the postcard screen. Let's see what Golden Ridge has in store. Dropping in 3, 2, 1, go.
back to only seeing a little bit of the A side. The cassette tape here is hidden 2 rooms before the end of the first checkpoint. So you're going to see the runners bounce off a cloud, head up to the left, and past a seeded berry. The cassette room should take about a minute.
Welcome to Namis in chat. What's up, Namis?
I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello.
Namaste.
Off the reverse ultra into granny
Wow.
strat. You love to see that.
We got a nice sync up going here. I do like this 4B track. So here's the divergence from the any percent run. Players heading over to make their way to grab the cassette. And then they're going to drop right into the B-side.
Just taking a death, trying to do a very fast that cassette room. Gonna try to take it a little slower, I think. Take, tape, and possibly make up some time.
Yep.
Getting into 4B first.
Yep, Jake with the slight lead heading into the Reflection B side. What's coming up? I have a feeling maybe some feathers involved here.
Not feathers yet. We're going to see bubbles. We're going to see wind, everybody's favorite wind. What we're not going to see in 4B is snowballs. Surprisingly, no snowballs incorporated into 4B.
Wow. Those Yetis just needed a break, probably.
Yeah, they're chilling on the A side. They didn't have time for the B.
What's up, Black Hawks? Welcome in.
I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello.
Skill says snowballs in final screen.
I don't think that's accurate.
Can we get a fact check? Fact checker.
I've played enough bingo to be pretty sure that you can't bop snowballs in 4B.
Oh, okay, yeah. Skills says yep. It's just
Alright.
just a brain error.
You can, if you're playing bingo and jump on 10 snowballs or jump on 15 snowballs is on the board, you can skip it in 4A and collect it in 2,000 meters of 7A or 7B.
So bingo for people who don't know. What is this bingo you speak of?
Oh man, do we have time to get into it? Bingo is a different way of playing Celeste. There's a bingo generator on bingosync.com with various objectives, some of which are as simple as, complete a specific B-side, or collect 20 berries, or collect 10 berries in 3 different chapters, things like that. But it does get into some of the stuff that you don't see in any category, like binoculars, right? There are lots of screens throughout the game with little watchtowers or binoculars that'll show you what the big screen ahead of you looks like. And in bingo, you might have to use 10 binoculars or use 2 binoculars in 4 chapters. And then there's tons of different berry objectives, different complete 3A and 3B sides, collect 5 hearts, collect 4 cassettes, things like that. So a bingo board will be generated with 25 of these objectives ranging from easy to hard. And then 2 players will compete, try to be the first to get 13 of those objectives. And if one player gets the objective, the other player can't.
And
different kind. It's like a speed run, but you're not speed running toward any particular goal. You quickly review what objectives are on the board at the beginning, and then try to plan a route that your opponent will not do, that you can get to stuff before they do. And
so the first person to achieve the goal kind of blocks off that section, right? So if 2 people are trying the same thing at once and one person gets it, the other one has to give up, right?
Yeah, that's right, and you will see those moments a lot of the time. If 2 people are going for something late in the game, it just happened to me recently. An example is get 3 keys in Power Source. So you have to play Farewell just into that hub in Power Source where there's 5 keys, or if you're a fast speedrunner, you can skip that entirely and not get any keys. If 3 keys is on the bingo board, you want to get there quickly and get them. I was locked out of that objective while I was getting the electric box skip. Right as I was getting ready to get the keys, my opponent, ticked off that they got 3 keys in Power Source, and so all of my Farewell play was for nothing.
And where could people, if they're interested in checking that out, can you shout out some places or some other channels that they could see?
Oh, the Celeste community channel showcases bingo not as frequently anymore, but we just are wrapping up a tournament of Lockout Bingo. The finals will be Zenoris versus Mr. Jerky Jerky next Sunday. That will be very exciting. And then A Chocolate Orange and LM Jax 2 are big fans of just restreaming casual matches between any 2 people who want to play. I know Jake and Chris have both recently gotten into the bingo scene and had some of their matches restreamed. It's always a good time when somebody is willing to stream, like we're seeing here, where you can see both players and the bingo card on the screen and have somebody else commentating it. But there's also just tons of casual play where 2 people get together and say, hey, do you want to play bingo? And they'll both either stream or not stream, make their own bingo card on bingosync.com and just have a good time.
Yeah, it sounds like it sounds like it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
It's much more casual than competitive. People just have fun vibing and playing bingo. Looks like we're through 4B here. At least is finished. Chris into the final section, final chunk of screens here, doing some very fast movement.
Aleph Null, Squilio, Toluo, J Pug, Roy. What's up, guys?
I'm like, hey, what's up, hello?
Spamming Echo in chat.
Acco.
What is Acco, guys? Clue me in here.
Is a reference to A Chocolate Orange on Twitch.
Oh.
Big time. Not only a big fan of Celeste Bingo, but he's actually been doing a lot of work lately fixing up the sort of restream package that grabs everybody's streams and audio and the bingo card and automatically updates scores. So huge shout out to A Chocolate Orange for putting in the work, making the bingo experience that much better.
Chocolate Orange in chat. Thank you so much for everything you're doing.
Acco in chat.
Chocolate Orange, legend in the flesh. Thanks for all that you do to make the Celeste community, make it better. Chris is through.
Oh my god.
Chris struggling a bit there with that one.
That's by far my most consistent B-side as well, and I just completely fell apart.
Well, let's take a look at the journals and see where we're at.
It looks like Jake has indeed made up his time loss and taken the lead here. As I can see the journals, I will state the times. Chris clocking in at 21:48. Jake now ahead at 21:03.
Wow, almost 2 minute difference there between Golden Ridges there.
19 deaths versus 7. That'll do it.
Okay, here we go. And now a
I don't know if
B-side.
anybody's ever played 5B before. This is a very unfamiliar B-side for me.
Yeah, exactly. Most common B-side and the most bopping track is 5B. So let's get into it. Mirror Temple begins in 3, 2, 1, go. Shout outs to literally everyone.
A shouting in chat. Any shouters?
Just shouting. Shout outs to shouting. Nice ickle skip there.
Favoring the quote-unquote ickle skip over the double wave dash strat.
So much speed on display here. It's easy to forget because we see so much of it and we get desensitized maybe. But just again, huge props to these runners. These again are the fastest, some of the fastest Celeste speedrunners on the planet, guys. Here showcasing all this hard work that they put in to get to this point. It's so many hours of dedication, practice, and it's on display today for sure.
I remember I met Chris actually through the Reddit post. He's on there, and we used to be at roughly the same pace and would occasionally race each other. And then Chris just kept working very hard and got way ahead of me in any percent. You're no longer competitive racing. And then I actually pressured him for the longest time. I said, run Benny percent, because I did that first, and I had a decent time. And finally, he agreed and started running it, and then very quickly surpassed me there too.
Both players grabbing that tape at about the exact same time, heading into the B-side here. And we're going to see once again... we got a little sync-up happening here. Sync-up. Whoop, not anymore. We're going to see once again these runners going for one of the tighter tricks in the game, known as the Bubs Drop, where I'm going to point it out when it comes up, but they're going to attempt to leave the screen and drop back down. You can see Jack here attempting it first and not getting it. You see he got caught on that platform, didn't drop back down. Chris, on the other hand, nails it first try. And by doing that, he is retrying, and the game is going to skip him ahead a little bit and bring him over to this screen. And you can see how long it's going to take Jack to catch up here. He has to go to the left and hit this bubble gauntlet screen, grab this bubble, and then long, leisurely bubble ride all the way back across to where Chris just appeared.
So that's going to be about a 30-second difference. It's faster if you want. If you're very good at Bubs Drop and you just think, I accidentally missed it, but I can get it next time, you can return to map and just go back into Central Chamber and try Bubs Drop a second time, and then a third time I think it breaks even. But if that would get you tilted, or if you're just not that consistent, you say, well, I gave it a good shot. It's quicker and maybe better on your mental health to just go ahead and proceed the normal way, grab one key, get all about Bubs Drop.
Yeah, just a mental strategy there, where you can opt to continue trying the Bubs Drop, or just as you saw Jack do, just go ahead and proceed as normal. Namus in chat has 200 berries and 1,100 hours in the game. Wow.
Ooh, lad.
Very nice. 200 berries. Blackhawks asking, how do you do that wall bounce? Just Jack just did. SicklyJack. Are you talking about the one with the 4 keys? 4 key room?
Streams are so laggy that if anybody says what just happened, I have no idea what they're referring to. There's 2 ways to do that.
Yeah, that's the room that Blackhawks was asking about, yeah.
Okay, that first room after the falling down past the mirror gauntlet, there's 2 ways to do it. One is ultra in from the previous room, and then slide, don't jump, dash straight up into the wall bounce, and that positions you pretty well to hit that seeker and bop the seeker down into the lowest of the 4 coins. Or you can just come in with any typical strat jump and wall bounce up and try to position yourself to do the same thing. I find the Ultra slide to be pretty consistent there.
And IckleChris with a very, very tasty sub 3. Speed with the B. Yeah, a lot of the strats just require you to practice. Oh, Jack missing it. This first coin here you can miss if you're too fast. You can trigger that moving platform on the bottom a little too early, and Theo never hits the key.
Much speed.
Okay, here we go. Final screen of the level for Jack. And he's through.
Very dramatic race here, back and forth, trading leads through Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at those journals and see where we stand before we head into reflection. Okay, what do we got? Meta.
Well, a nice 26-26. So Chris back in the lead. Jake just behind at 26-32. Wow, that is a tight race.
We have a race, ladies and gentlemen.
I believe this is both runners' favorite chapter coming up here, 6B. Really everyone's favorite B-side. Not difficult in any way.
No.
Oh, 6B is a nightmare. Even the very, very top tier players can actually pull off 6B so fast that they will do it in their any percent runs, but you have to be so good to pull that off. Anybody who's not a top tier expert struggles and hates it because you start to see the bumpers come into play, which are not RNG, but certainly feel like it. There's a cycle aspect to them because they have just that little bit of horizontal wiggle. So if you hit them just a few frames away from where you thought you were going to hit them, you're going to go bouncing not in the direction you expect. Can be very tilting.
Okay, let's see what happens here. We're going to drop into reflection beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. And the tape grab here is pretty early into the stage, isn't it, Meta?
You're going to get through this feather section at the very beginning, then lake, and then right at the top of lake, once you enter hollows, instead of proceeding to the right, you're going to see the runners go to the left, use a Kevin block to crush some walls, and enter the tape room. I don't know if either runner is going to pull off a strat called Revo's Nonsense, where you use Kevin block to get momentum into the tape room and then just basically fly past everything. If they don't pull that off, then you're still going to just see some fast wave dashes and carefully timed jumping across the blocks to get to the tape.
You will not be seeing any wave dashes from me, I can tell you that.
Streams don't kick into place here. Looks like
yeah, Chris is the first one here to the
yes,
to the tape grab room, and Jack right behind.
Going for the very casual, slow tape grab. Nothing wrong with that at all. Do what gets you.
Chris took a death there late and had to restart the room, but grabs the tape there as well. Both players now into 6B. And what is it about 6B that's so challenging?
To me, it's the bumpers. I think the start gauntlet of 6B, in my opinion, the hardest part of the chapter. There's 4 checkpoints. The first one involves a lot of bumpers and very, very tight feather movement through some narrow spike corridors. The second one is a falling section, which is not particularly difficult. You can make it more challenging if you want to go very fast with some tight diagonal down dashes in places. There's also a demo very late that I don't know if either of these players do. It's an 8-pixel window demo, so it's a little easier than the one in Resort that we're all familiar with, but it's a setup-less demo. So you just have to hope that you're in sort of I think 4-pixel vertical range when
Wow.
you attempt to pull it off.
Really tight stuff. Yeah, these
Little,
bumpers.
but it's very tight.
These bumpers are really. They kind of feel like imprecise, you know, or they.
Exactly.
Yeah. In other words, they demand precision because if you're a little bit off, it's just going to really send you in the wrong direction.
It's the 6th room on my screen. That's where Jake is right now. That is the one that always fits. It looks like Jake has no problem getting through there. That's fantastic.
Yeah, this is the big long. This is a very long screen, right? With these Kevin blocks.
It is. It's not particularly tricky, but you just have to make sure everything is timed well and lines up for you to be able to have the Kevin blocks close enough to jump off the top one, fall down to the lower one, give it a smack, and Jake is on into the second checkpoint, the falling section, which I believe this checkpoint is named Reflection, even though the chapter is named Reflection.
Interesting.
Not sure what's going on there.
A little bit of lazy development there. I don't know why. Ray of Sunlight, welcome in.
I'm like, hey, what's up, hello?
7B music and 6B kind of slaps.
Almost, I tend to agree the 6B demo isn't that hard. It's also very early in the screen, so you can miss it a couple of times and not lose too much, but if you're not super comfortable with it, probably better just to proceed without it. Although the rest of that room, just again, some very tight window spike falling. It's tricky to get through.
Farewell is also a checkpoint in Farewell, says Namis.
It's true. It's the final checkpoint, so that does make some sense. Reflection being the second out of 4 checkpoints in Reflection be a little bit more confusing.
Maybe can somebody check is Matt Thorsen in chat? Maybe we could ask Matt if they're in chat. I don't know. I can't see who's in chat. It's possible, right? He could be anywhere. They could be in chat.
Could indeed. Let's see. Is either runner on that difficult screen? Yeah, I see Chris not to do the 6B demo. So this tight spike window at the end, you want to dash to the left and not tap either direction. Be able to fall through there if you're positioned just right. Both runners are through that and heading into the 3rd checkpoint, which is called Rock Bottom and is the beginning of the 6B battle line fight.
Wow.
It has a lot of crumble block movement where you have to be aware of where the blocks are going to fall because you're going to need them. You're going to need to either bounce off of them or hop on them quickly and then jump off or hyper off, able to progress through this. And then there's some coming up here with several coins and a lot of technical feather movement, and there's multiple ways to do it, but there's really only one way to do it well and consistently. And both runners will know that feather route. It might look confusing to a casual player, but believe me when I say that it is the right way to do that room with the least amount of headache.
Yeah, this looks extremely difficult, and that's because it is, really.
It's really a lot of learning. The actual movement in this section is not especially difficult. It's nothing like, even parts of 3B where everything is on those horrible dust bunny cycles. It's honestly not that bad, but it is very intimidating. There's something about 6B that is just like, wow, this is way harder than chapters I've played previously. And it can be very difficult to really get that movement ingrained into your muscle memory.
Now there's a move here that Jack is just completed where you're kind of using the Kevin block and then going up this vertical corridor. Oh,
right, I missed that. So you can skip the right side of that long room by waiting on the Kevin block for that dash crystal refresh, and that'll allow you to just jump straight up and dash up through 2 more dash crystals into the next room.
Oh, I see. Yeah, both players doing that move.
Not a super hard skip, just a bit of knowledge.
Okay, and both runners now pretty close on the same screen.
We're in the final checkpoint here. This is Reprieve. A couple more battle line battles, and we will see them grabbing that red heart pretty soon.
Nice movement there from Jack. Big ultra at the start of this screen. same thing from Chris.
Both players, I'm a little behind, but I just saw them in the room before that, skipping the coins and doing a little corner kick or corner boost off of the block that you would otherwise have to move by picking up the coins.
Jack taking a costly death there.
This is a room that I always go for pretty slow conservative strats on because it is such a room and so easy to just make one little wrong move and lose a lot of progress.
Yeah, big time lost possibilities there. Ooh, Chris.
Ooh, Chris.
Wow. Narrowly avoided getting beamed and then grabbed a tiny little ledge to avoid some spikes, but made it through somehow. And now into the heart, finishing out the chapter, and Jack right behind. Really well done. Good stuff.
Very respectable times from both players, and wow.
Oh my god.
Wow. We are going to have such a tight race. I think Jack picked up 3
Wow.
of the 6 seconds that he
Wow.
was behind.
What a
Players
race.
are going to be seconds apart heading into 7. You'd love to see it.
I am literally sweating.
I died on the second to last reprieve room, and it just cost me like 20 seconds. Sad.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was
a tough
tough.
one.
Yep, we saw
I think
that.
I died about 4 times on the second room, the feather room. And I just lost all heart.
We have 4 seconds separating these runners.
Wow.
Yeah, this is extremely close, and obviously it's going to come down to who can finish off Summit the cleanest here. So take an extra second here, guys. If you need it, go ahead and wipe off your palms and steady your resolve as we head into the final chapter of this Benny % race.
I forgot the rule again.
Okay, we're jumping in. Go ahead whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Okay, so Meta, what is the where's the tape on? I don't even know where the tape is.
Quiz in chat. What checkpoint has the tape in Summit?
Oh, there we go. Good luck to both runners from everybody in chat. Big luck.
Of course,
15
these people in chat know they're Celeste. The cassette is in 1,500 meters, about not quite halfway through the checkpoint. It is above the room with the 4th red berry, and so you'll have to play all of 0 meters, 500 meters, 1,000 meters, a little bit into 1,500 to grab the cassette. So that should, for me, around 3 minutes. These people, maybe 2.5 to 3, something like that, for the tape grab.
Wow, Jack with the save. And early on, again, very early on, but Jack with the slight advantage here. Oh, skills. I was just literally, it wasn't a late commentary. I just like read chat. I didn't actually see the save happen.
Runners now into 1,000 meters, going through some dream blocks. I'm a big fan of 1,000 meters. I'm also a big fan of doing it grabless, just for the heck of it, because it's fast. It helps you be fast when you don't have to think about grabbing, and there's really no screens in this checkpoint that require it.
Yeah, that's wild. You could actually, can you beat the game grabless?
You actually can. In fact, some of the people in chat, I'm sure, were around yesterday watching a race between Spirialis and Fel the Curl, where Fel got a huge PB in Grabless Any Percent, and Spirialis got a world record of 42.22.
Whoa! Give it up for world records.
Grabless Any Percent, not super difficult except for a little bit of the game, namely Golden Ridge. There's a few screens in Golden Ridge that can give people fits. And then most notoriously, the final screen, 2,500 meters, has a demo dash over a moving block where the setup for the demo dash is both X and Y pixel perfect.
Wow.
You have to be in exactly the right spot. And then not only do you have to be in exactly the right spot to hit the demo, you're going to die so many times trying it that you have to be prepared when you do hit it to make the right movements after that. So that run has prevented some people from doing Grabless Any Percent at all and has caused some serious time loss for other players who have tried it.
Okay, it looks like Jack is now beginning the B-side here, and Chris just getting to the tape. What are we going to see here for the Summit B-side?
Summit B is structured just like 7A in the sense that there's going to be a checkpoint representing each different style of the previous chapters. Each checkpoint is about 4 screens long. Each one uses kind of a different mechanic, just kind of refreshing everything that you've learned. And then especially toward the end, casually playing 7B is where the game teaches you wall bounces. Once you get to flag 8 of 3,000 meters, there's going to be the bird saying, hey, did you know that you can dash vertically across a wall and press the jump button to kick off of it? Of course,
Wait,
all of us
what? You can do that?
That's a thing. But if you were playing casually, you wouldn't know that was a thing unless you accidentally discovered it until you made it all the way to the end of 7B.
Spoilers in chat for anybody who...
Sorry
guys.
Sorry for anyone who didn't know about wall bouncing. I just gave it away.
You can wall bounce.
So 0 meters really just dodging spikes. They're so far behind. Okay, now I'm in. Jake is completing 500 meters.
Yep, he just touched the Battle in
Nice.
Orb at about a
Very
minute
nice.
35.
Gil says the entire game is dodging spikes. That is not incorrect.
Yeah, also true.
Sao just learned how to wall bounce, so now look for Sao to get world record any day now.
Chris also wrapping it up at about a minute 35, so really, really close between these runners.
So Jake missing a fast version of this
Ooh.
room. Jake, there's a better way to do that. I'll have to teach you.
Both runners struggling here a little bit.
Chris has the critical information, the diagonal dashes that make this room a bit more easy. Into, I think, the final room of 1,000 meters.
There it is, Jack touching that purple orb at about 2:34. Ooh, Chris with the spike kiss.
We just mentioned that the game is about dodging spikes. And in the resort section here, 1,500 meters, lots of cycle-based movement, lots of things that look harder than they actually are, with dust bunnies going back and forth, making life difficult. Jake is through and then into one of the more challenging rooms with 5 coins that are scattered around. Casual players will go, wait, what in the world? What order do I get these in? There's a few different ways to get them quickly. Jake showcasing one of them. On into another difficult dust bunny room, the final screen. 1,500.
Liam Pig in the city in the chat says, "Go Chris." What's up,
This is
Liam?
going. Oh, nice little. I don't know if that was a demo, but a very tight horizontal dash there from Chris.
Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in, this is a Benny % race. How do you pronounce it? Do you say Benny?
We did a poll in chat right before it started, and it seems the consensus was Benny. B is a play on, it's a B side instead of an A side, but since you don't say A knee %, I don't know why you would say B knee %. So I think Benny rolls off the tongue a little better.
A Benny % race between IckleChris and SicklyJack, and it is a tight one. Very, very close coming into this final chapter. And anybody's race here. I think Jack has the early lead, as you can see.
Jack is pretty decently ahead here. Into 500 meters at roughly the same time Chris enters 2,000 meters, so about a checkpoint ahead. That being said, there's still a lot of challenging stuff left. Meters, one of my personal least favorite. Very difficult to manipulate your movement around these moving dash blocks. Nick, however, no problem. Gets right through it.
Yep, nicely done, very smooth. Into what I'm assuming is the final section here?
That's right. Yeah, again, just 4 screens in each checkpoint, up to 3,000 meters. If you know how to do them, each checkpoint goes by pretty quickly. Now, going to be heading into 3,000, just a shade over 5 minutes rest of the time. So 7A 3,000 meters features 30 flags. In 7B there's only 20. Some of them are notoriously difficult. We're going to especially keep an eye out for flag 13, flag 9.
What is it about flag 13s?
So flag 13 features a bounce off of a pink cloud where you want to be both on the left edge of the cloud and moving to the left at the moment you jump off of it in order to curl Madeline around a set of spikes that you will then need to dash over horizontally twice.
We're seeing it right now. Jack handled it really, really well.
Wow. Not seeing it right now.
Made it look easy.
Yeah, there we go. And flag 9 is a different kind of challenge. Once we get there, it's some tight jump between walls, a lot of stamina preservation, a tricky jump at the end.
Oh, wow. Yeah. With the downdraft as well. Oh, that was flag 10.
I think we're in updraft in flag 10.
Oh, I see.
So that actually helps. You can do some jumps that you normally wouldn't think you can do because the wind is helping push you up a little bit.
Smoke Pig saying in his casual run, this took him so long.
Mm-hmm. I can still remember the days when my 7B PB was 51 minutes.
Oh, and here's the tutorial for wall jumps.
There we go.
SicklyJack now into flag 6.
So missing that last wall jump, you didn't pay attention to the bird. You gotta be a little closer. Now the thing, wall jumps, this took me so long to learn casually, and hints are, number one, you don't have to be touching the wall. You can be a pixel or two off of the wall and still be able to do that little kick. The other thing, that the key for me, is that you are really waiting to input your jump after you dash. I kept trying to sort of dash and jump at the same time off the wall, and that's not what they're teaching you to do. So you dash, and then while you have that dash momentum, even very late, press jump and still get that full wall bounce.
Yeah, it is pretty lenient in terms of how it allows you to hit the wall jump late, and like you said, even when you're not completely against the wall, you can still get one.
Climbing up to and entering the heart room. These beat blocks with some cloud jumps that you have to time just right to get to the end, but there is a to do it in one cycle if you know what you're doing. And ooh, falls back down, but manages to save it without getting hit. Looks like 20% PB from SicklyJack.
No way.
Not quite.
How's he done it? Oh, very close. 10 seconds.
Almost there.
Wow. Great performance.
That was a 7 BPB.
Okay, guys, let's send all the energy, all the love over to IckleChris as he wraps up here. 10 seconds off PB is absolutely insane in a race setting. And a PB as well. Love to see those golds here at the Cup. As Chris here approaches the final screen, that rhythm-based screen.
Oh, a very late heart room death from. You hate to see it.
GG. GG to both runners. Absolutely insane. Now, whether or not, you know, these runners have their own expectations and they know kind of when they're playing good and when maybe they could do better. In spite of those expectations that we put on ourselves, this is such an amazing display of skill, determination, perseverance, and talent. And thank you guys so much for taking the time to showcase it.
Yeah, no problem.